Okay guys, it has been a while with the 2020 and the forest fires, so here is the look at the lamb house, and this little guy has just about tripled. He was kind of having a rough time there. I was adding leaves and I broke off a branch back there. He'd be even bigger, but he has put on about a good 4 or 5 good stalks like that, which isn't really insane growth, but he was like totally frozen for a while. I was kind of wondering if it was gonna pull through or grow at all. So since we had this fire season in 2020 with the smoke and all that, it cooled down the air. It's not quite so bright and sunny where we are. We're kind of more of like a Bay Area climate temporarily, which is actually kind of nice other than the smell of the smoke. But today is a very clear day. I'm going to show you something. See that tree back there? About a week ago, I couldn't even see that tree. It was pretty bad. So that'll give you a rough idea. But what I'm going to do tomorrow, if anybody, maybe I'll make a separate video to get these things ready for the season. Apologize for the chicken wire. That's to keep my dog from chewing on the trees. But is I'm going to spread the dirt around, add some leaves on there. So the leaves are just now starting to drop off the trees, so I don't really have enough to make a video about it. But every once in a while, if you make a mound, just throw a little extra dirt on there. And over here, this is the next one. This is just a good old-fashioned hoss, or hass, depending on how you want to say it. Same thing, had to add a little dirt down there. Because not being on a mound like that for drainage, the dirt washes away. So you gotta stay on top of that. This one is a little iffy. This one went in a year later than the other guy over there. Oh, Blitz, tearing apart the yard here. And this was the home of our Reed. Need to do a gun salute for him. And pretty soon, I'm going to show you the stars of the show here. You can tell how much happier these guys are over here where it's dark. I shouldn't say dark, shady and overcast maybe. So since I painted, this whole stalk here is basically new. You can see where the thing came out right down there. So this whole growth has happened in, I don't know, last 2 months or something like that. And then lots of other secondary shoots are growing out. So, yeah, that's the holiday. It's a weird floppy kind of avocado. I wouldn't get into that if you don't have a little bit of experience. And this sucker is the star of the show. Look at this thing. It has like doubled. That is a huge stalk. That is my little cotto, or the Wirtz tree. And this one has like hardly any sunlight. Look at this. That's the trick to growing these things in the beginning. Looks a little leggy there. Trying to reach out and get some sunlight, I suppose. But that's the trick. They definitely need a lot of shade. This one's probably getting a tad too much though. But same thing. Add a little bit of dirt down there, and you'll have a happy avocado. Okay. Oh, and in case anybody was wondering, I was talking to somebody about this today. The chicken wire is for the dog, and basically I have a video on making the planter boxes, and these things are just simply like 1x4s, about 8 feet tall or so like that. And I just cut some horizontals, built a little cage around here, and put some netting on it so I could also wrap them in the wintertime to keep the heat in so they don't get a frost freeze. And you just screw them right into the planter boxes. It's nothing real complicated. Okay, let me get out front and I'll show you guys what we got going on there. And my little patio spare trees that I'm growing here. If you want to get a rough idea, this is the Reed that I was growing for the one that just died over there I just showed you. It's not quite big enough. I'm going to put it in the ground this particular year, so it's definitely going to be a next year one. But that's the Reed. This guy over here is, I believe, my forte. Might need a little bit extra nitrogen on him, but he's growing like a monster. This Pinkerton here is just going crazy. That thing's getting huge. I'm loving that thing. He's going to be a monster. And over here, my lamb hoss is doing pretty good. I almost was kind of debating about taking this lamb hoss and putting him over here, but that guy finally got growing. It was just stunted, so if he's on the move, I'm going to leave him alone. It's really hard to get avocado trees established, guys. If you haven't grown them before, they are not like any other tree. They are really, really tricky. And a lot of this just boils down to climate. If you have a nice, kind of that temperate, about low 80s, upper 70s climate, like the Bay Area, further down San Diego, they do great. Once you start getting into the 95s and up, whew, boy, it really stresses them out. That's the problem with these guys. But once we had this cooler weather come in here, even though they were covered with ash, those things put on about 2 or 3 nodes in this last few weeks. They really took off, and they're loving this weather. So let's get out front. And this is my forte in the front yard. I've got a screen on him, giving him shade from the western sun. And this is basically what I'm going to do in the backyard. Just basically put a nice 1.5 inch, maybe even 2-inch layer of leaves down there, because avocado trees love mulching leaves. So, you know, for being as hot as we are, I think I'm through the battle of getting these established. That was the tricky part. But we just don't have very many leaves here. I've kind of been a little remiss on watering the lawn. But the smoke stuff wasn't going out here too much. But we don't quite have too many leaves to rake up. I'm waiting for it to get a little bit thicker. And this is where we had our Jim Bacon and a Stewart that didn't work out. The sprinklers were kind of drowning that spot. So too much water kills them off too. And just to round everything out, here is the Mexicola. Also a nice thick layer of mulch. I just put more of this on here on these two just a few weeks ago. And you can tell it's got some new stuff starting in. This one kind of has a hard time over here. It's, you know, it's tough getting that perfect balance of shade and sun here. That one gets too much sun, this one gets too much shade. Go figure. And this one is in a good spot for sun and shade, but it gets drowned by a sprinkler that's over there. That's what this goofy thing is, just to keep the sprinkler from splashing around on it. Okay guys, that's pretty much the gardening tour. If anybody has any questions about any avocados, you know, just fire something away.